use cases specifically. Second, there was a need for this article also, and I would suggest and request any collaboration in future also. I am happy to collaborate on this topic. We are very happy to collaborate on this topic. I'm sorry, because all the articles that I just mentioned, 34 in Google Scholar, 67 in 34 in Scopus and 67 in Google Scholar, typically they talk of only two issues. One conference of 1996 of WTO, another conference of WTO of 2015. That's it. So there are many things which are happening which have not been covered in the research which is going on with respect to plurilateralism. Now, literature review, in the paper that we have submitted, there are many. However, we would like to submit only 4 out here. The first was way back in 1994. Second, it was with the formation of unilateral structures. Next, the third one was the typical characteristics started to come in. The intention of plurilateralism, that is, that we will not be a large organization, we will be a small organization, tied together with 1 or 2 maximum reasons, those started to come up. And the fourth one is a quite modern paper of 2025 itself, wherein we are talking of the emergence of a distinct model, emergence of the word called plurilateralists. The organization itself started to emerge and people started respecting it and people started mentioning it in their papers also. Now, the international cooperative framework, typically if you have to see, first is the multilateral organization. We are almost used to it, we know the famous institutions. The plurilateral agreements, these are the ones which are coming up. And for social scientists and people interested in the area of research with respect to countries and macroeconomics particularly, one term which is started being used, that is coalition of the willing. Now, these few words suggest the essence of multilateralism, plurilateralism, sorry, that is coalition of the willing. That's it. And some of the plurilateral examples that we are coming up, one is the AUKUS friendship. This was typically done to prevent the growth of China. India is a strong player out here also. Second one is a very important one. This in fact emerged from, that is ISA, that is International Solar Alliance. It started only with India and France. Officially, it is India and France right now. But you will see that I have mentioned solar-rich countries because what these 2 countries have done is to start a silent revolution as to they have identified countries which can be solar-rich, which can have substantial part of their energy requirement coming from that segment, and these 2 countries are spending millions on promoting this. There are at least 10 countries of Europe and 5 countries of Asia and at least 15 countries of Africa in their agenda. Right? The third one is MSP, which is typically US-centric out here. This is typically we are talking of the rare earth minerals, whichever we are talking of today. So this is one alliance which has been formed to prevent misuse or prevent monopoly of one country over any mineral. The last one is IPF, wherein India is also a partner out here, and it has got large countries, and this is a very unique arrangement. If you have to see the nations, it's very important to analyze the specific alliances. The last one is very unique if you were to see because it has got some large countries like the US and India also, and it also has got very small countries as in Fiji and South Korea also. These are some of the examples, but let me tell you, this is not the gist. Now coming to India's geopolitical role, I mean, lot many things I just quizzed the group before the start of the presentation. Now the meeting and visits of Prime Minister and the set of cabinet ministers across countries that's going on, these are all to bring about that political soft power. Now that's one thing which is emerging also while we are talking plurilateralism as a concept. Now, emergence of soft power for serious researchers, let me give you a take. This is again another important area. Our country which has done a wonderful thing by coming out as an economic stronghold, economic strong power, without any tariff issues, without any hullabaloo in the market, in the international arena, is South Korea. You can do your checking later. Now, India's geopolitics. How many of you are aware of this troika called RIC? RIC, anyone? This is typically Russia, India, China, simple as that. So let me tell you, for this audience, particularly students, that you might be going through many reports wherein India and China are competing. Yes, they are competing. Every country would always safeguard its own interest. But there are agendas, there are areas in which they are collaborating also. Remember, the word is collaboration. We can have fights, we can have internal differences, but again, when it comes to economic matters, collaboration is important. Every country, every regional, every rational country realizes the importance of collaboration. Second is IPF involvement. Now, India's strategic participation in this one, let me tell you that India has categorically, it's a part of IPF, let me mention it. However, it is not mandatory. This is the beauty of plurilateralism, that you can object to part of the decisions. It's not the typical European Parliament or UN or something of that sort, wherein every member necessarily has to agree. This is one charm of plurilateralism, that you can be there, but not necessarily that will agree to every conditions of that agreement or that association. The last is, the third is ISA leadership, I have already discussed. And the fourth is diplomatic relation. India today is at the helm of affairs with respect to it's comfortable with both the warring factions across any disturbance across the globe. That's one beauty, a spot on which India today is. This is the important, the most important slide, because this is the last but one slide before thank you. So, plurilateralism has its hidden drawbacks also. The first one is impact on LDC and UD countries. Now let me tell you, there is no, despite proven literature, that it is. That's number one. Number two is, it also goes in for an economic rules which have come up because of a particular charter or particular order. Now suppose suddenly that might strain the powers of the multilateral institutions also. That's another challenge. And the third one is agreed that today, because of huge amount of structurization, huge amount of bureaucracy which has come into the large organizations, the so-called multilateral organizations, it's difficult. We can say that, it's difficult to impose a certain sentence or make a particular rule in UN, agreed. But again, let's appreciate one thing, that it is structured. And let's not be in a jingo, let's not bring in jingoism by doing or taking multiple decisions just because we have to support plurilateralism. Thank you very much. I believe I did justice to my time. Thank you. Any questions, if any? But again, my offer remains of collaboration. I collaborate with everyone and anyone. Yes. Strategic questions, I'm incapable. Okay.
Sir, this is very fortunate that I got to know this topic first time in this conference, and thank you so much for that. So my question is that, under your title, you are saying in your second or third slide, I have read that some countries, some economies are collaborating just to counter China or to stop the development of China.
Yeah.
So when China goes for jail by China, will China will support us in that, or how we should handle the situation that China will take some measures to destroy or to do something negative to India. So in that condition, what policies government are taking?
This is not a football season, this is Wimbledon season, this is tennis. But I will draw a corollary from football to answer your question, ma'am. that we are aware of defense and offense. So the obvious partnership is not about attacking or countering China. It is for the prevention of its growth beyond a particular limit or beyond a particular extent. Yes, it's a gray area that you can say that, I mean, what's the limit? That when you are saying that it's a dictatorial thing, when you are saying that it's a diplomatic thing. Again, but again, things are as it is. And India has been able to deftly manage it, trust me. It has been able to deftly manage it. And on one hand, as you saw, I mean, on the RIC Troika, I mean, you would be seeing reports on BRICS Summit, but you won't be seeing another report that while this RIC Troika, let me tell you, you can do the Google search also, every year, mandatorily, since 1993, if the heads have not met, at least the foreign affairs ministers have met always, every year, government upon government. That's a different story that Russia or China may change the government, हमारे में change होता है, despite. So things are not as we see. This is evolving and there are many undercurrents which happen. I'll give you one example for this one also. I'll give you one example. I can say the Argentina question which I asked, I mean Namibia and Ghana visits and all. Now apparently the news which is flowing out is that it's about that lithium and those rare earth joint ventures which are being made. But trust me, there is another current which is not being famous, which is being done, that is India promoting Ayurveda in a big way. So things will come up and open up in few years to come, you will come. Thank you. It was a pleasure standing over here. Thank you to the management and the arrangers of the conference.
I would like to take your
My honor.
Just that our government is taking Ayurveda in a great way. What we should understand, because as far as I know, that a lot has been done during ancient times as far as the Ayurveda system is concerned. We know about the activity. But now we need to indicate it through research. What's your suggestion that when we say we are taking it in a big way, what exactly we should, because say statements are very strong and very big, but what is the strategy behind it? Strategy. Because almost, I tell you, in every gathering, I have been hearing this from one or the other person. Where is the strategy?
So, with my limited knowledge and mastery of this subject, I would like to mention a couple of things. Point on Madam's response to this one, the Ayurveda thing which I mentioned, that was limited to the thing related to PM Modi's recent trip. That is one, let me clarify that those things are also happening, not just the mineral thing which is coming out in the newspaper. That's one. Second is, so far as this one is concerned, let's understand one thing. You sir mentioned about the scientific research. Unfortunately or fortunately, we Ayurvedists, I mean, say we are competing with the allopathy as a segment, which has got, I mean, all the companies are deep-pocketed companies. They have got huge amount of R&D and they have proceduralized and documented everything, which unfortunately has not happened till now in the Ayurvedic segment. It typically has been, as you said, our ancient wisdom. वो सर्दी होने से तुलसी का गोली लेने से ठीक हो जाता है. We know it, but we do not have any scientific proving at all, proofs at all, as we have for the typical wisdom. Now, certain universities, government is also coming up, the promotion which has started, baby steps and